Welcome back to another episode of Pathways to Wellness. Today's journey will be delving into the captivating world of fitness, blended with a little bit of holistic health. Joining me today is a good friend of mine, Tajour. As many of you guys have seen him in the Optimumfusion workout videos, but today he's going to tell us a little bit about himself and how he meshes being an avid holistic health enthusiast as well as his how do I say it, like
more so my game plan towards like fitness and how I am acclimated to it.
Exactly.
If I would say.
Yeah. All right. So let's start. Tajour, please tell us about yourself and how you got into fitness and yeah.
All right. So first off, again, my name is Tajour. Either call me TJ or Tay, whatever your preference. But let's go into what I've really been through. So I've been in the game for about 4 years from this month, actually. And it's been a very enlightening experience. Really, I did it to take up some time in my day and also to make myself feel a little better. But as time went on, I learned new things. I learned new things about how fitness is done correctly and more things about what I eat, what is put into my own body.
Honestly, I feel like a lot of people definitely ask you about what do you eat, because what's really unique about T is that he has a very low body fat percentage. And I think that most people struggle with having fat. He does not have an issue with that, which I'm envious sometimes. But then again, some of us are blessed with really good genetics and some of us have to work to achieve that same level. But his work ethic matches his genetic potential. So that being said, tell me now, do people not ask you a lot at the gym when we go, what do you eat?
In fact, they do a lot. It's either between that or, why aren't you a personal trainer yet?
Yeah.
I'm going to get there. Don't worry. Everything's in the wraps.
Everything takes time. But that being said, is his dedication, his discipline definitely set him apart from your average individual. That's why he's here today on Pathways to Wellness to tell us what he does. And let's get started into the topics we have for today. So we're going to start by exploring the science behind the symbiotic relationship between physical fitness and holistic health. And to start, we're going to hit the key point of endorphins. Recent studies have shown that regular exercising releases endorphins. For those of you who don't know, those are natural painkillers and mood elevators. But beyond that, exercise also helps to regulate our circadian rhythm, promoting better sleep, overall mental health and being. And given those two topics, I would love to hear your point of view about how fitness has helped elevate your mindset, your physical health, your sleep, and so on, because I think a lot of people need to hear it from the horse's mouth.
I agree.
But yeah, tell us a little bit about how you feel and so on.
Just to start off, the key thing to always remember is that in order to actually obtain whatever fitness goals you need, or just to be in shape, it's 80% of what you eat put into your body and 20% of lifting weights, all that stuff. That is the key rule here. But otherwise, for me, I know before starting working out, it was a drag just to get out of bed sometimes. Yeah, I would say it still is too, but that's from other stuff. But in general, it was like a stone brick coming out of a soft bed.
Speaking of what, I have to point out, we reached a point where we're going to Lifetime at 4:30 to 5 a.m. to work out, and then we'd start our work day. And I remember going with you. You're the one who got me into taking cold showers after the sauna.
And a friend of mine got me into cold showers as well.
Yeah, but it shows you the circle of the people you surround yourself with definitely cultivates a lot of these good habits. But essentially doing those things early in the morning, waking up and working out, it's almost like making your bed. You achieve something, so it makes your day feel that much better. Not saying we don't get tired. I get exhausted around like 7 p.m.
We definitely get tired.
But I feel like that's part of the circadian rhythm. You're going to sleep when you're supposed to. You shouldn't be staying up till 1 a.m. Although
yeah, there's certain loopholes here and there depending on what kind of work you're doing, even outside of just working out, because this is part of the lifestyle. This is just something that we do to make our lives easier for the rest of the day, which in fact it does.
And speaking of what, like, how does cold showers help you, right? Especially early in the morning. Is it like a natural caffeine boost? You're looking for that stimulant to kick you in the butt and get you rolling, right?
Yes, in fact, actually. So usually after a workout, I would go into the sauna for usually I go for 20 minutes. I know they say sometimes it's like 15. You can go 15 to 20, but I go 20 because I like the heat of the sauna and it's a really relaxing time right after a workout. But after that, take like a 30-second cold shower. You can even go and rinse off in the cold shower first and then turn off the water heat and everything like that. So you can either wash yourself or do whatever. But just to rinse yourself off from the sauna, do it for 30 seconds with cold water.
How many times do you do that? How many times do you go in the sauna, cold shower, and do you go back into the sauna and repeat the same thing?
I've only done that once with you.
But, oh, yeah, that's true. So I do that. I learned that from a buddy of mine. I went to a banya in Newton, and essentially it was 3 hours of going between hot and cold, and you'd go in the sauna, which was extremely hot. I don't remember the exact degrees Fahrenheit.
He described it very hot, like sizzling to a point where you're probably an egg on the blacktop.
Exactly. And the great part is that after you get really hot, you'd go and jump into this tub filled with ice cubes that was around like 50 degrees. It was cold, but the point of it was too cold for me. I'd go in there, I'd hop out. The heat would feel amazing. We would do that multiple times. And there's science that proves the benefits to it. I'll delve into that into like a future podcast, a future video, like explaining the science behind why that's good for you. But to continue, one of the benefits of working out is your ability to build muscle and cardiovascular strength. That being said, what we do sometimes to help boost our muscle building and the cardiovascular strength and so on is making sure that we have an approach where we start with our flexibility. So we'll do dynamic stretches.
Like high knees, leg lunges, things that really might move around the hip flexors a little bit too.
I also got to point out, we do some things that you would practice in yoga, like the cobra pose, where you're trying to like elongate your spine so that you're not like jam-packed. What are those springy boxes from Toy Story, that dog that bounces out? But you guys get the picture. Spike, yeah, there Spike. We go. You don't want to feel like Spike before you start working out. So we do start and focus on flexibility, minimizes injuries. And if we do get injured, I think that we hold each other accountable to make sure we're not doing exercises that would extend the period of that injury, especially with you. When you're doing muscle ups. And I remember you're like, yo, my wrist hurts. I was like, yo.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake on my part. But I'm still good with the muscle ups though. I'm pretty fluid with it. I still have it down pat, so no further injuries.
I still can't do a muscle up.
He will.
I will eventually. I get like halfway up to my chest, and then the dip part just doesn't click in my mind. It's like when you're trying to learn how to dance, and you think you're doing the dance, but in reality, you probably just, yeah. All right.
Oh, Cedric, I want to segue into something else too about just the holistic aspect of fitness in general, or just the fitness path that we do, which other people do. But the key thing here is consistency. One thing that I've learned with fitness is consistency, and also just really putting in hard work in one thing to achieve the goal. For example, muscle ups, as we described before. I didn't get those at first. Trust me, they were rather difficult. But over time, just doing simple movements to compound into what the actual move entails, I got better at it, and now I can do it without even trying to get some momentum in my swing. Yeah.
Speaking of that, I met up with there was a gentleman at Edge who helped me out one time. I was doing muscle ups. You weren't there. And he was telling me that it's a lot of hip movement. And I didn't know that. And I did notice this when I was watching a video of you do it, when I was editing something that we did a while back.
Yeah.
And you do incorporate the hip movement that he was talking about, but he was pretty much saying that when you're doing a muscle up, it's similar to when gymnastics people are doing the rope swing and so on, that it's a lot of hip rotations, like moving your hips forward and back and making sure that you get that momentum to sling you back up. But that's me digressing. And sorry, guys, but I just want to point that out. That being said, you did mention something that I do, and that was being consistent, but also going into the realm of consistency, I think your mental approach to working out and how you start your day does affect being consistent and being your self-motivator.
Yes.
Like you can get a personal trainer to motivate you and kick your butt and you can pay that money, but it's a lot better if you're able, in my opinion.
And fulfilling.
Exactly. I think it's a lot better, in my opinion, to learn how to be motivated by yourself and then supplement with a trainer to teach you different nicks and things like that to kind of boost up your workouts and so on.
Yeah, and just to break away from that really quickly too, I didn't start by myself. I started with a trainer, or my coach Rob, shout out to him. But I started with him, and I've been working in the gym with him for 6 days out of the week each time. It was a lot of work when I first started out.
I guess had a quick flashback when you mentioned your coach's name, because I didn't start out working out by myself. I started out in high school, and my workout partner, his name was Nick Farfano, and we had a coach, Alex, and Nick was training for the Junior Olympics. He's an amazing athlete. He was a decathlete. He got me into wanting to do a decathlon and so on. But it was him giving me the pointers on how to work out that got me to where I am today. And in the beginning, I wasn't the biggest guy. I looked like a marathon runner. I'm East African. Usually we're not that big. We're skinny. We eat a lot of carbs. It helps us in running long distances. But that being said, I was a skinny guy and my goal wasn't to be a bodybuilder. I just wanted to put on muscle and fill out because I watched a lot of anime, and anime characters like Dragon Ball Z looked really dope, jacked. I'm not saying I wanted to be a cartoon character, but I wanted to.
The physiology was an ideal state that you wanted to achieve.
Exactly. And that being said, the consistency, having a trainer definitely helped. But another thing that I would like to point out that I started doing that I've been trying to tell T as well is being mindful and meditating, right? Because meditation for me is an active affirmation to yourself where you assess where you're at in life, where you want to go, and how you want to get there. And those are just different ways to approach meditation with a goal-oriented approach. That being said, did you start meditating yet, or do you even think it could benefit your fitness?
I would say yes, but have I started? No. And that's just a large part of just the everyday going on and me being very tired at the end of the day. But I would agree that it would help a lot in my affairs and fitness and health overall.
You do, I feel like, in my opinion, I think you do have a meditative practice that you do. Like when you're building your sets, right?
Oh, yeah, my gunpla sets. Yes, my model kits. Yeah.
I feel like you go into a meditative state, into a trance where you're putting something together, and you probably have other thoughts as I view it as a puzzle. As you're putting a puzzle together.
It's basically adult's Lego set.
But it's really cool. We'll drop a little video of some of your finished things. Well, I think it's a different approach of meditating where you're actually being active, but you're still allowing your mind to go into a state of flow.
State of flow, state of concentration, knowing where pieces aren't, what you need to combine, and what you need to put away for later. A lot of that just goes in your brain, but at least for me, it's a very calming state. I need to get back into another kit as well, but in fact, it is another form of meditation because I'm listening to music and I'm just calmly cutting pieces, putting them together, shaving them, making sure they're cleaned up and everything, so everything's all flush. And it's always rewarding to see the final product because at the end of the day, that's something that you built, something that you put in hard work into building into something that is yours to claim.
It's fulfilling.
Yes, it's very fulfilling.
Yeah. I have a lot of different puzzles that I do in my life. T knows some of the projects that I'm working on. We're working on a aquaponics system that's self-automated. I can't tell you exactly what it is until we do a soft launch, but just understand that there are things that we're working on that are going to help boost your health and make things a lot easier for you that are holistic. And speaking of holistic and nutrition, we can't really talk about holistic without touching on nutrition, right? So the big question is, how does diet scientifically complement a holistic fitness routine, right? And I'm going to start out by listing a couple of things that kind of help benefit nutrition. And I'm going to have T delve into his amazing diet that he got me into, which is very simple. And you just have to follow one rule almost. But before we start into that, let me just touch base on this simple thing. The gut-brain connection has been a hot topic recently to a lot of people. A balanced diet rich in probiotics, prebiotics can positively influence your gut health and turn positive effects into your mental well-being. That being said, there's an old saying in the Eastern tradition that your gut is your biggest brain. People hear this all the time. Trust your gut, right? So in order to trust your gut, I'm a strong believer that you have to build a foundation on which your gut is something you can trust because it's healthy. So take your prebiotics, right? Take your probiotics, eat healthy. Furthermore, take an omega-3 fatty acid supplement. You said it best, fish oil tabs. Find a good company that produces clean fish oil, because it's been shown that omega-3 fatty acids have anti-inflammatory properties that benefit both your physical recovery and your cognitive function. That being said, so let's go over to T over here chilling with 3% body fat, not a bodybuilder, but whatever, man. Tell us about your diet, right? Tell us what you eat, and tell me, remember that rule that you told me about, the one thing you really don't eat that every American eats?
Sugar, sugary foods or sweets. That's my number one rule. Back in the day, when I was still probably around like 140, 130 pounds back in high school, I eat a tub of Friendly's ice cream every other night or every night. It's pretty insane.
You eat a what?
A tub, like a half a tub or quarter tub of Friendly's ice cream.
So I'm lactose intolerant. I used to love ice cream. Hearing him say that, I'm like, ow, how's that even humanly possible? But hey.
I was a skinny kid with a dream of just eating a lot of mint chocolate chip ice cream. It's not crappy. You just don't have the right taste buds. Don't at me. But anyways.
All right. So tell us more about, you used to eat a lot of sugar.
Yes.
You don't eat a lot of sugar now.
No, barely. I think the most sweets I'll probably have is I found this new cookie at Stop and Shop, which is like a little bit less fattier than like your normal cookie. And I'll probably pop those in every once in a while just to get that little sweet taste in. Because even though I don't eat too many sweets, sometimes you get that little craving. And it's okay. You just got to make sure you don't eat anything too crazy.
You know what I do?
Not too frequently.
You know what is a good way to supplement your cravings for sugar? Fruit.
Yes, actually, fruit is nature's natural sugar.
Like tamarind, date, tangerines, bananas, blueberries, blackberries. Oh my God. Goji berries too. That's a superfood. Dragon fruit isn't really that sweet.
Acai berry.
That's true. And another thing that I would recommend is consuming green smoothies in the morning, because it strangely enough can be sweet if you do it correctly. You get some kale, some spinach, right? I put in 4 strawberries. You can put some agave in there and some dates. And if you want, you can put in like your, creatine. And it tastes sweet, and it's satisfying because you're having a salad in the form of a smoothie that tastes like candy. I'm like, check. Like,
all green. But I would also want to segue to make sure, I've tried this before. Base celery juice is not that great. I've read up on that where it's another type of good thing to drink every once in a while, but I tried that once. Just bare celery, just put it in the blender and just and then all of a sudden jerking it straight from that, and it tastes rather unpleasant. Granted, it was just that, but fair warning.
And then another thing about speaking about greens, I remember when we started working, I asked you, what do you eat? Because we delved into that in the beginning, asking, people always want to know, what does T eat? But legitimately, I think you have a lot more salads than your average person. How many salads do you have each day?
I would say as of recently, I haven't had too many salads. But on an average, when I'm actually having my normal diet cycle, I'd probably say a day, probably like 1 or 2. But I try, or at least I would try to get one at least a day. You know what I mean? But my salads are simple. Spinach is my go-to. I don't really like iceberg lettuce. and some type of chicken tender or some kind of meat. Sometimes I'll do tuna. Sometimes I'll do those chicken tenders.
Sounds like the Mediterranean diet where it's 80% grains and like 20% protein, right? And like you stayed lean with that. I think the most body fat that I've seen you have based off when we go get it measured was like 5.6%.
Sounds about right. Between 5 and 3.
Yeah, and then the lowest was 3. And I think 3 was when you're doing cardio. That's a huge thing. You're doing cardio. If I remember correctly, you're eating your greens, because we'll talk about what should I do, because I had 17% body fat. I'm not a fat guy because I carry the weight well, but I was 17%, right? Compared to 3%, that's huge in my opinion. I had 10% more fat on my body and my frame than T. T weighs 174. 74. I'll give you those extra 4 pounds. I saw it, right?
All right.
Maybe 170 now because you weren't in the gym for a little bit, but
Yeah,
174
exactly.
when you had the time.
Yes.
I was 210 pounds. I'm down to 195. I'm 13% body fat. I have maintained that diet. And another thing that I stopped doing, like you know, is I stopped eating after 8 o'clock. So I allow my body to go into a state of recovery, right? So I give my body at least like a 12-hour window for it to purge anything out of it that it doesn't need. When I wake up, guess what? The first thing I do? I purge. I'm just going to call it that. I purge. Okay, it's very important for people to wake up in the morning and be able to purge. I feel like most Americans only purge once a week.
That's a lot of buildup.
That's a lot of buildup, man.
Funny enough, too, just to add on to that point, too. That's how people keep on their weight, too. It's a lot of the time because they're not able to purge.
It's okay, because I think that like it's not okay not to be able to purge, but it's okay to be aware of your problem, then find solutions in order to mitigate future risk to your health, right? So if you know you're not purging, there are herbs out there are things out there. You can go see a doctor, and a doctor is I think, your go-to person. We're just here to help suggest things that can help supplement your life that we do as well. But definitely speak with your medical expert, go to your primary care doctor, ask them, hey, I'm having an issue, right? I have a lot of fat, or I only use the bathroom once a week. And they'll tell you things you can do. One of the things that they say is eat greens. On the holistic approach, you can take wormwood. I think that's the name of the herb. I can drop the actual name in the caption below or the description. But you can have specific herbs that definitely help with your metabolism, help with purging your body. There's things like dandelion root, which I've spoken about in previous videos, that it essentially help purge your body of free radicals. So yeah, that kind of concludes that topic. What do you think?
Yeah, I would like to add on to just about my usual regimen of what to eat and everything like that, just to give some very additional pointers. My dinner plate, for example, one thing I've learned too is that, let's say this is half of the plate here, one half. One half of that plate should be your veggies, whatever vegetable that you need to complete that meal. And then here, like a quarter of the plate would probably be your carbohydrates or grains, like rice, potato, anything of that nature. And then the other rest of the plate would be your actual protein, like your chicken, ground beef. That's a golden rule of like how the plate should look like. The most important thing is just making sure that you're actually having a good amount of vegetables. You need that.
So I do love that insight that you've just given us. Another question that I do have for you, actually, before we conclude anything, is what do you do for a workout? Like, you don't have to go into like the nitty-gritty details, but how many times do you work out each week? And what is your outlook on the week and the goals of what you're going to do to build muscle and strength and so on?
For me, now that things are a little bit easier for me to actually be in the gym a little bit more consistently than before, the goal for each week is to work out at least 4 times a week.
That's fair.
And I need at least 1 rest day, but I try to get 2 in because, as we get older, things start to get a little harder. But otherwise, max 1 rest day is also fine too. Two rest days is also very good too. But anyways, for me, I try to work out my legs at least twice a week. and my upper body twice a week. It's just 4 days.
So do you split up the upper body into like chest and back?
Yeah, exactly. Essentially, yes. For example, I usually like to start it with chest, or when I do like my first upper body day in the week, I usually like to do a chest focused day where I'll do a lot of chest and tricep workouts because they go well together. The next day, I'll probably do back and either a variation of shoulders or biceps, or all three, depending on how I'm feeling. Like yesterday, I was doing one of my big workouts where it's mainly back, shoulder, and bicep focused. The Creed Jonathan Majors one.
Oh my God, that workout hurt so much. Yeah, sorry about that. One of the things just fell from the back. They're actually a product that we'll be selling on the Optimumfusion website. We import them from Uganda. My aunt has a family of people that hand make these wall displays, but they're also coasters because they're heat retardant. But to go back on why that just fell is because I didn't put it up well enough. And then 2, your workout regimen, I actually do something similar to what you do. I picked it up from when I used to do track. And then when I also used to follow Arnold Schwarzenegger's, I hope I pronounced his name right, his workout routine where it was like hit specific muscle groups, work out them hard, and make sure to use compounding exercise to achieve that. And then after I started working out with you, I got more into calisthenics, like doing muscle ups, right? That's a huge thing that you do. It's defined your back. And I am still hoping that one day I can do a muscle up successfully without an aid of someone.
But remember, ladies and gents, you also just got to remember, before you ever think about doing something that complicated, pull-ups. Simple pull-ups, chin-ups.
Weighted pull-ups.
And that's been something I'm also been doing too.
Homie can do 90 pounds, which is 2 plates, and do 10 to 15 reps. He says he just does 10, but sometimes he forgets to count, in my opinion, and he does more than he's counting, right?
But then the thing is, I do that every workout. That's my warm-up too. I usually do 3 sets of 20 push-ups, 3 sets of 20 squats, and then I go on the pull-up bar with my weighted chain belt. I do 2 sets of 10 with the 245 plates, and then 2 sets of 10 with the single plate.
That's
every time.
Pretty amazing. That being said, we gave you guys a brief preview of what we do in the gym, what we eat, why we eat what we eat. So before we wrap up, I think that the major key that we really have to leave you guys with is being consistent with whatever habit you decide to introduce into your life, whether it's working out, whether it's meditation, whether it's yoga, whether it's calisthenics or running. Just be consistent with it for a long period of time and you will be separated from those people who are not consistent, right? Consistency is the key to growth, right? In today's life of instant gratification, we just want something right away, but you have to realize anything that's really worth anything in life requires work and requires patience. That being said, a study in neuropsychology showed that even short bouts of exercise, when consistently done, can lead to enhanced attention and memory. So that means that if you're able to find one thing that you can do to move your body, to exert energy, it's going to help you increase your ability to be attentive and your memory. So be healthy, be wise, be open-minded to learn how to enlighten your daily routines. That being said, I'll let T finish us off with a couple of things.
I would just like to say this too. If I can do it, you can do it. Don't let it be super complicated in the sense of, oh man, he's got all this, I'm doing all this. That's crazy. I'm like, that's true, but I started from somewhere. Everyone started from somewhere.
That's true.
If anything, don't look at it like a big challenge because shoot, I got to apply this to myself with other means besides fitness, but that's another combo for another time. But in this realm, things are a little easier than you would think. And all it just means, or all you would need to do is just start it.
Exactly. Just start, be consistent, and please be willing to explore learn, and nurture every facet of your well-being, because that's the only key to evolving. It's like science. Science is continually evolving. To evolve, you have to be able to question your daily practices and making sure you're able to sharpen them like a sword. Because when an obstacle comes, it's you and the problem. And the only way for you to overcome that problem is to make sure you have every tool in your arsenal in order to do that. And that means you need to keep on learning and evolving. So thank you for tuning in with Optimum Fusion. My name is Cedric, and I'm your host. And please remember, if you have any questions, reach out to your medical practitioner, because I'm not a doctor. I'm just your friendly friend or whatever who's just here to make sure that you are living your best and healthiest